and we have an exciting show to cover with you. And it's actually raining, so I'm going to work very hard to bring that energy up. And the good thing about it is I have with me Andrea McEntyre, a financial expert, and we will be discussing doing taking care of debt, because we had a very good question to come in talking about debt, asking about debt, rather, debt payoff. And before we get into it, Andrea, let's talk about our wallet win for today. We had a very good wallet win to come in, and it was for the past 4 months. I've paid off $8,000, and I've saved $1,000. And
Wow.
yeah, I've paid off more debt in the last 4 months than the past 4 years, and they didn't have a savings account. So that's a very good wallet win. In a 4 months time, pay off $8,000, and like I said, they paid off 8,000, and they did more in the last 4 months than the past 4 years.
It sounds like they had a plan.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely had a plan, and we just, as we were talking to them, they were saying it fitted right into what we were talking about when we also, when we started working with them, that if you've never been on a budget or a spending plan, you need to give it at least 3 months, 90 days for it to actually show results. Because if you've never done one, you have to build a habit. You have to get into the habit of doing it. And the first month is, I always tell people, just be easy with yourself, because you're going to go through this up and down thing of, is this really going to work? Is it working? It's not working. Looks like it's trying to work. You're going back and forth. So you just stick with it, and then it'll start showing results after that. And that's what we were talking about with the client. That first month, they wasn't quite sure that this was going to work. They wasn't quite sure that they were actually going to stick to it. But then they saw the result going into the second month, and then the third month, that's when things really started to pop for them, and they stuck to it, and now they can't see any other way of running their finances.
Absolutely. They built up the muscle and they've got a good habit. They didn't quit on themselves. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's the tough part with any new habit is
Hmm.
uh, sticking to it and just remember why you're doing it. So I'm super excited, and that should motivate a lot of us. Rain or shine, that
Right.
should definitely motivate a lot of
Right.
us.
Exactly. So yeah, perseverance always wins. It's hard to beat persistence. And no matter what you're involved in, it's with your finances, business, family, relationships, whatever in life, persistence is a trait you definitely need to adopt if you're going to succeed in anything. If you're going to win with money, you have to be persistent, because it's rarely a straight line where everything is just perfect going like up. I've yet to see anything work that way. It's like up, we go to the valley, then we start up again, maybe plateau for a little while, may not see
Mhm.
anything, nothing. There isn't anything bad happening, nothing really good happening, but you are getting results, and then you'll see a spike up, might go down, whatever, and move. So you just have to persist with it, and it would definitely pay off. Uh, it would be better to be persistent in, for instance, paying off, just saying I'm going to pay $100 a month, than $200 this month, nothing the next month, $300 a month after that, nothing, and then maybe $100. This That's not a way. That's not a good way to run it. Just stick with it, and just consistently do what you made up your mind you're going to do, and you'll win that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was very good with the wallet win. That was a good one to see. Now, we were planning to talk about debt anyway, and we had a very good question to come across. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just combine the two. Normally, we do a segment where we're discussing the topic, then we do some Q&A. But today's question basically is what we were planning to talk about anyway, and that's about debt. Um, and that was the question is, what's the best way to pay off debt? What is the best way to pay off debt? Um, in your opinion, what do you think is the best way to pay off debt?
Well, I think the best way to pay off debt is whatever you're going to stick to.
Mm,
I mean, it doesn't sound fancy. It's not an overcomplicated strategy. It's just the plan that you'll stick to. So,
hmm.
whatever you've committed to doing, doing that consistently. That's the best strategy. Now, there's some different methods to pay off debt, and I think it would be good for us to kind of go into some of those. But look at the different one options that are out there and pick the one that you know resonates with you. Which one seems to be the best fit for you, because each method or strategy is a little bit different. John, what are some of your favorite what are some of your debt your favorite ways or methods to pay off debt?
There's three ways that are popular, uh, that time and time again. Well, two of them that are extremely popular. One of them, there's actually four. Two of them are the most popular ones. You know, they're the ones that have been out there the longest. There was a new one that popped up on me that I thought was very effective. Once I really listened to it and put some logic behind it. Then I have what is called an honorable mention way of paying off debt. That uh, I call it the actual debt terminator. You know, we have the debt snowball. We'll start with that one. We have the debt avalanche. We have the debt terminator, which is like the other two on steroids. And that's the honorable mention one. And then we have the actual, what did you call it? You said uh, it was the one that frustrates you the most, and you had a peace of mind.
What shapes you the most?
Yeah, yeah. So let's start with the actual debt snowball, because that's a popular one that you hear that one a lot, which is basically you just pay the 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 lowest balanced debt first. That's basically what you do. You just take all of your debts, put them out, list them, and whichever one has the lowest payoff, just pay that one off. Pay that one off first. The lowest balance, exactly. Thank you. This rain really works on me. People that know me, rain really it does a job on me. And so I have
We'll
a
get you some coffee, John.
yeah,
We
we
know
call we call
that's
yeah.
your sunshine in a cup.
Yeah, we have to do it. Well, that one is debt snowball. Debt snowball is you pay the lowest balance first. And then what you do, you take the balance that you paid off, the payment that you was making on that, take that, and what the next one you're making the payment on that, take that extra that you use to pay off the first one, the lowest balance, and apply it to that one, and then just keep stepping it up like that. And what happens is you starting small, and then like a snowball, a snowball rolling downhill. At first, it's rolling, it's kind of slow, but as it picks up more snow, it rolls faster and faster and faster. And that one is very effective for people who like to see quick wins. When we work with
Absolutely.
someone, yes, when someone they're looking for a quick win, um, that's the best way to do it, because they see right off paper, okay, you've paid off a debt, you know, and that gives them the motivation to stick to it, because that's what they were needing. They were needing something to happen, very quick there. And so that's where the debt snowball is very effective. People they um, after, like I say, after a couple of months, it's like a no brainer to them, and they just keep uh, pushing forward with it. The next one is the debt avalanche. Debt avalanche is you have your debts listed out, you know what your balances are. So what you do, you pay off the one with the highest interest rate. And usually, though, the people that like the debt avalanche with the highest interest rate, they feel like that's a good return on investment. because if they have two,
Yes.
they have two debts. One of them is interest rate. One interest rate is, say for instance, 3%. The other one is 6%. They pay off the 6% one first because they feel that they're getting a 6% return on their money, which they actually are.
Yes.
They actually are getting a 6% return on their money. And so the numbers people that like to really play, like numbers being nice and tidy and being effective, with their numbers, they like the debt avalanche. uh, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about the debt avalanche yourself.
Yes, actually, I want to say something about both methods. So, whether you're doing the debt snowball or the debt avalanche,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that you want to make sure that you do, and I'm glad you mentioned it, John, is the amount of money that you've been paying on whether it's the smallest balance or the highest interest rate. As you pay that off, that money still has a job, an assignment. So let's give some numbers. So let's say you've been paying, you have a debt that is 6%, and it also happens to be your lowest balance. And let's say it's you owe $1,000. So you've been paying $200 a month. Well, as soon as you pay off that $1,000, you're celebrating, you're happy about it. In your celebration, do not spend more money. What you want to do is take that $200 that you've been paying every single month and now apply it to the next debt. So the same amount of money that you had working for you, you've got that $200 plus, let's say, your next debt that you're attacking. You combine that, and that's going to help you pay the next interest rate, highest interest rate off if you're doing the debt avalanche, or the next balance if you were doing the debt snowball. So I hope everyone understands that the money that you were paying on the debt you just eliminated, it still has work to do. And you've got the muscle. You've already been accustomed to paying out that $200 a month. Let's now apply it to the next debt on top of that normal payment.
That was a very good point that you made there. um, I did the overview and you came in and actually did the details of it. So now everyone should understand. And they, like I say, they're everywhere. There's a lot of financial experts out there that one likes the debt snowball, other they like debt avalanche. And both of them work. The one that will work is the one you will work. It'll work like a minister once said. It'll work if you work it. So it's the one that you like best, and those were the first two: debt snowball, debt avalanche. Third one, which was very interesting to me, um, which we called it the peace of mind. Um, a financial expert, she was talking one day. I was watching on CNBC, and she was talking about debt payoff, and they asked her which debt payoff method did she like the most, and she said what basically we are saying whichever one works best for you is the one that would work, and so just choose one. She said, but the one that worked for me most, she said, the one that I paid off the debt that frustrated me the most first. And she went on to tell the story. She said she owed her father some money, and he he was holding her, keeping her feet to the fire. He had set up a payment plan and everything. Hey, I'm loaning you this money, and this is how much can you pay me each month? And they agreed. They actually had a paper, some paperwork drawn up and everything. And she said, and when she got serious about paying off her debt, she listed them out, and she's every time she picked up the paperwork where she owed her father money, she became very irritated. And so she just took that as a sign. Okay, I'm going to pay this one off before I choose debt snowball, debt avalanche, or whichever one, debt terminator. I'm going to pay this one off first. I'm going to pay dad off. Even though it wasn't the lowest interest, it wasn't the highest interest rate, it didn't have the lowest balance or anything. It was just that one that she just became agitated when she would look at it. So she jumped on it and she paid it off. And she was like, okay, that felt pretty good. She said, I'm glad that I paid off a debt. She said, but she actually had felt a peace come about. She felt some energy come back, like she got some of her energy back. Like, she felt empowered, like, hey, this felt pretty good. And so she looked at her other debts and she said, okay, is there another one that aggravates me or, really charges me up? And she said by the time when she was done, when she got out of debt, that's how she had paid her debts off. She just looked at the next one that aggravated her the most. She said actually the one that came after paying off her father said it was she had financed some furniture, and the furniture was old, and it
Ooh.
just made her mad. She was like, I'm still making payments on this old furniture, this old beat up furniture. And that made her mad. And she took the money, what she had paid off her dad, and she kind of combined the other two, the actual principles of the other two. She took the money she had paid off from her dad and applied it and got the furniture paid off. And she was like, because that was like a stupid debt. So whichever one gave her the most emotional charge, that's the one she would attack. And she was out of debt. She was like, before she knew it, she was out of debt. And she felt like it was, she said after she got out of debt, it felt like she had been going to therapy.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did because she used her emotions in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we may hear people they're advised to control your anger and your frustration and sadness, and there is a lot of good reasons why you want to monitor that and you want to stay on top of it. um, what we're suggesting is that you look at it and look at how it can benefit you. Sometimes that anger, that frustration, that uncomfortable feeling, whether it be with debt or anything else that is a particular goal or something that you're wanting to eliminate or accomplish, your emotions can charge you and give you that fuel. So I love that example that she gave. And you may find as you're doing, you may find that you start with the debt frustration, that peace of mind type of payoff plan. And then you may choose to um, go into one of the other methods. So it's not saying that it's a one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
It's the plan that you'll stick with. And then it's also looking at um, how you can, once you start building that muscle, how you can keep getting smarter with your plan of attack.
That's right. That's exactly right. And when you're talking about debt, I could really understand why. Well, let me back up and say it this way. Her method worked for her because she figured out a way, and you was talking about the emotion that got her emotions in check, and she got some of her energy and power back. That'll happen with the other methods also, as you touched on. So whichever method makes you feel the most powerful, that's the one you work with. um, the other one that gets honorable mention is the debt terminator. It's based off of ratios, and most people that like it, they that uses it, they have discretionary income. They have, they're not struggling to pay off debt. They don't have a problem paying off debt or anything like that. What it is, they're just, they're paying their bills on time. And they're slowly knocking it down. But then something big comes along that they really wanted to handle, take care of, and they look at it and say, wait a minute, there has to be a more effective way. Um, I'm not efficiently using, my money is not, I'm not making the most of my money is basically what they're saying. I'm not doing, my money is not doing the work that it could be doing. And so they have some extra money to apply, and they go through the ratios and pay it off, and it pays off debt like extremely quickly. And so, but that one's for another show. That you need to bring out we have to bring out the old chalkboard, or the
The
pen,
whiteboard.
yeah, the
Mhm.
whiteboard, to really show how this one works. But once you understand it, it's not complicated. Once you understand it, you see just how effective it is compared to the other, to the other ways. I like the frustrated the peace of mind payoff plan. I really like that one, especially with the way that the expert she was talking about it. She was like, you could tell she was passionate about this. She was like, yeah, each one of them made me so mad, and I used that, like you were saying earlier. I used my emotions and in a more positive way, because you know we're humans, so we get angry, and you can turn that anger into something positive instead of hulking out and just destroying stuff. Well, you hulk out and destroy debt. And so that's basically what she did. She got angry and she hulked out and destroyed the debt and got rid of it, and have been, she was like, and I've been happy ever since. Ever since.
Well,
Not ever since. Ugh, rain.
John, I my favorite my favorite is the my favorite, whether starting you're starting all over from a financial crisis,
Mm-hmm.
whether um, you decide that there's some new goals that you're wanting to attack, and you're wanting to do a fresh assessment of where things are.
Mm-hmm.
I like starting with the quick win. So I'm a debt snowball fan. And because that gives you a quick win, you see that you've immediately accomplished something and you've been able to pay off a balance really quick. So that, let's say you have a nagging $200 or $300 that is left on something, or that you owe someone personally. Um, Knocking that out, you're like, okay, whew, that's one debt paid off. Now let's look at the next, whatever the number is, three or four. Or I've worked with some individuals who may have as many as 10 or 15 accounts that they're looking to pay off. And then there's some people who have the goal of their debt elimination is not just, credit cards, or maybe there was some home repair type things. They're looking at making sure that they don't have any car payments, they don't have a mortgage. So people can apply these strategies to different debts, according to what your goals may be. But that's just my favorite. I'm starting to like hers more and more, because um, that frustration, using that emotions, both of them give you, they energize you in what is often boring, not sexy to talk about. I'm working on my debt, my eliminating my debt, but it's a worthy and rewarding goal. Anytime you're able to accomplish some goals and continue to make progress, it is therapy, as she said.
Yeah, most definitely. So whatever works for you, that's our answer. Um, as you can tell, each method works for a particular type of person, and you can, what I don't advocate is doing one this month, another one the next month, another the next month. Kind of stick to one, and work it and stick with it, because like I say, we go back to what I was talking about early. Persistent. Whichever one you consistently and persistently stick with, that's the one that's going to work for you. Now if you're 3 months in and you're saying, okay, I'm actually making some good strides here, and you figure out that you really are sort of like a numbers person. You become confident with numbers, and then the avalanche makes more sense to you. Then move to it. Or something happened, you receive a windfall or a nice chunk of money. You can decide if you're going to do the snowball, avalanche, or move over to the terminator. Or if you receive this big chunk of money and you're happy and ecstatic, and this debt over here is really, and you're like mad at this debt, and apply it over there, pay it off, do whatever. And as you could tell, what I'm saying here is, as you move forward and you taking more control of your money, you start having more options. You
Yes.
have better options to take advantage of things. Or you might just decide, hey, I'm just going to stick with the snowball throughout that's fine if it's working and you're happy about it. But you made the choice. It's your decision now. It's not someone that's, it's not something that's controlling you. You're in control of it. And that's what the takeaway is. Anytime it comes to money, never allow money to have power over you. You're supposed to have power over the money. You control the money, and don't let it control you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um, I'm glad that the question came in and it was a perfect fit for the topic that we wanted to cover today, which was
Mhm.
paying off the debt. Um, Thanks again for sending in those wallet wins, those questions. We appreciate
Yeah.
hearing from everyone.
Yep.
Um, John, I'm glad that we focused on what was most important, which is sticking with a plan, doing a plan that you will stick with, whatever the strategy may be, but stick to it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, if Andrew, you don't have, if that's all you had to say, we can close it out here because that's been a power pack 30 minutes. And I know you've learned something. I know I did. As I sit here and I talk more and more about the peace of mind plan. I like that one. Like I say, I have to stress again. I really do like that one. And probably talk more about it with implementing it with clients that you can handle that frustration, get your power back, and all that good stuff. You know, then you can start down that path of really building wealth and changing your, as one of the experts said, changing your financial tree, financial family tree, and really build a great future. So that being said, on behalf of Andrea McIntyre, John McEntyre, tune in tomorrow for more financial tips. We'll answer questions, share wallet wins, and until next time, we'll talk.